You got a little excited, but I think, your kids, they were put in about 3 or 4 situations where they really needed to answer the bell, and man, they did.
Yeah.
They really responded, don't you think, in tough situations?
No, I don't think we played our best game, but
Right.
I think North Dakota had a lot to do with that. But like you said, we kept fighting back. We didn't give in, and we got through an extremely ugly half. The first half, in my opinion, offensively, we didn't follow a game plan very well. But we just found a way to stay in the game. And then I thought the 3 that Jordan hit at halftime was huge for us, just mentally.
Sure.
To be able to go in, only have it be a 2-possession game was huge. And then the second half, the way we started, gave them confidence. I was pretty hard on them at halftime, but to their credit, the things we talked about at halftime, they really did a great job of executing the first 6-7 minutes of the second half to get us that lead.
Well, there was one time, I don't know when it was in the final 2 or 3 minutes, Abraham had a couple back-to-back bad possessions, and you kind of, look down the bench, and you look very far. You look right at Anthony and shoved him in there. It actually was right after a second free throw. You know what you're getting when you throw him in there. You're going to get somebody that's just going to sacrifice themselves and do whatever, and that's exactly what he what he did. He hit the three-point play when he hit it from the corner and then hit the free throw. I think from an emotional standpoint, that plays bigger than what it even says on the scoreboard.
I think they all down the stretch. Not everybody played well, but that's the mark of a good team. Is we had other guys step up and pick each other up. He didn't have his best game, but guys were willing to step in, and we had that small lineup in there. And it's tough because it takes us out of what we want to do execution-wise, and I have to work on that. I've got to work on things that we can go to offensively when we do have a smaller lineup in. That's on me. But to their credit, they found ways to make plays, whether it was Anthony or JD or Jay Will. All of them I felt made big plays, whether it was just the right pass or the right finish, whatever it needed to be done. They came together and found a way.
Talk about Jordan Davis's basket, the little 10-foot floater that gave you the different. What was that? And that was after timeout. So what was that set up to be?
We wanted to set a high flat ball screen, and I wanted to take a second. We thought we knew what their matchups were, who was going to guard who, but then when they got out there, they had a big guarding Jordan, so I wanted Jordan to have the ball because I felt like he could take advantage of that matchup. And they did a good job. We did a poor job of walking into the screen. We didn't execute the screen very well, and it gave them a chance to recognize it. And I thought they did a pretty good job of.
Did he come off a screen to get the little?
Yeah, he came off a flat ball screen, but he took they did a good job of not letting him get to the rim, and he just jumped up and made a play, and that's what you got to do in one-possession games.
Now, when they have possession with 10.7 left, that's a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think they were going to right away try to shove it inside?
I thought it was either going to they were either going to isolate Bernstein again, or they were going to put the ball in Hooker's hands, and who's their best player, and that's what they did. And Jordan Wilson did a great job of picking him up early and not letting him be comfortable. I thought that was the deal. If he's just allowed to drive it, dribble down and get in his rhythm, instead he had to fight Jordan more or less for 60 feet, and that took him out of his rhythm. And I thought that was the difference to me.
Would they review afterwards whether there was a foul?
Whether there was any time left to take the ball out.
Oh, because 3 of their guys were on the floor, but I'd say it was more in agony than in pain.
Yeah.
So whether it was time for them to take the ball out?
I don't. Yeah, see who the ball was off, and then if there was any time.
Everybody's possession, but I don't know if the leg went on. That's what, 4 in a row?
Yes.
That's it says a lot in terms of, especially this team, which is hard to light a fire under sometimes, and but to get 4 in a row now maybe answers some of their own questions on their capabilities, and you start getting on a roll, and it can lead to some big things.
Yeah, I think.
And you're home next weekend, no?
Yeah, and I agree with you, but I think it's more just them which is very similar to a lot of people in general. They don't understand the process that it takes. It's just like if you're running a business, we replaced 2/3 of our people from last year.
Right.
That takes time for people to find roles and come together and trust each other and play for each other and do all those things. That stuff takes time, and it's hard to rush that process. The only way to quicken that process is through great leadership. And when Cam went down, that leadership, that vacuum added into having 8 new faces was like it was like trying to drink from a fire hose there for a little bit. But to guys' credit, like Jordan Wilson and Dallas and Anthony and some of our older guys, they've risen to the occasion, so to speak, and they're starting to see some of those benefits. I want them to be extremely happy with the way they're playing. I just don't want them to be satisfied because we got an awful long ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
But to see how far they've come in 2 months, they can advance just as far still here in the last 5 weeks if they stay hungry. And that's going to be the keys. Can this group immerse themselves into this team for the next 5 weeks and totally give everything to it and let the cards fall where they may?